The Road Traffic Management Corporation has urged motorists to plan their trips carefully as high traffic volumes are expected this weekend. Motorists are also urged to check weather forecasts, avoid driving through storms and refrain from crossing flooded bridges. RTMC spokesperson Simon Zwane says law enforcement officers will maintain high levels of visibility on roads to ensure compliance with traffic laws. He joins us now for more. Zwane, thank you so much for joining us this evening. Talk to us in terms of how the RTMC is preparing to manage and monitor that increased road traffic during this peak period, and what specific measures are law enforcement deploying to ensure that compliance with the traffic laws is adhered to during this busy season.
Yes, thank you very much for this opportunity. We are planning to deploy law enforcement officers on all the major roads leading out of the holiday destinations back to the cities, on both the national roads but also on the secondary roads, because we have seen since the 1st of December that there are many motorists who opt to use alternative routes in order to try and maybe avoid roadblocks or detection on the national routes. So we will also intensify on the secondary routes, because that is where we've seen most of crashes happening.
Why is high visibility by law enforcement so critical during this time, and how does it impact on road safety?
Yeah, high visibility becomes very important because it deters those who want to break the rules of the road, ensures that everybody modifies their behavior and they respect the rules of the road. Even those who have got a tendency of overtaking over barrier lines, they comply when they see flashing blue lights along the roads. But it also enables officers to identify them, those that are driving recklessly and those that are not respecting other motorists. There are many who will be driving at high speeds, flashing lights on other motorists to move them off the road. That conduct is discouraged. When we have high visibility, we are able to identify those who are behaving like that, and then are able to deal with them.
So, Zwane, based on data from previous years, what would you say are the most common causes of fatal accidents during the festive season, and how is the RTMC addressing some of those issues?
Yeah, data tells us that during this time of the year, fatigue plays a critical role, as many drivers will be driving long distances. Some of the public transport drivers want to drive these distances without taking a break. As it is now, there are many people going back to the cities. So you will find drivers driving from the Eastern Cape to Johannesburg or Cape Town to Johannesburg and returning to the Eastern Cape because the queues are long there. So without taking a break. So we discourage that. We want those public transport drivers to take regular breaks along the road. But we see a lot of speeding around this time of the year, drunken driving, and lack of respect, actually, when driving closer to residential areas. That results in a high number of pedestrian fatalities.
I mean, you speak of lack of respect. Do you find that road rage also does contribute to some of these high numbers?
Yes, we do see road rage, but we also see people who are using their cell phones for content creation and all of that. Those things also contribute to this high number of particularly head-on collisions and single vehicles overturning.
So in recent operations, over 4,700 vehicles were impounded for permit violations. What message does this send out to transport operators and drivers?
Yeah, this sends a message that public transport operators and drivers must make sure that their vehicles are on the road, on the right route for which they are permitted, that the drivers also have got their public driving permits. there've been some of them have been arrested driving long-distance buses to Malawi without having the public driving permit, without having proper documentation. Those vehicles have been impounded. So that tells us that public transport operators are not taking sufficient responsibility. Firstly, to ensure that their vehicles are fit to be on the roads and that their drivers are fit and proper people to be driving passengers in between those destinations that they are driving to. So that is a big concern. So we're having regular interactions with the bus operators as well as the long-distance taxi operators to ensure that there is compliance all around. Because in that way, we can see a reduction in the numbers of people dying on the roads.
And do you have specific areas of concern, any hotspots where you feel that you're going to put more effort in terms of policing certain areas?
We'll be putting a lot of effort on policing cross-border transport. We've seen, experience tells us that there's been a lot of transgressions among cross-border buses, but we'll also be putting a lot of effort around residential areas where we've seen a high number of pedestrian fatalities, particularly around Gauteng and even in Limpopo. We want to pay closer attention also on Mpumalanga, because Mpumalanga has experienced an increase in road fatalities. So the roads leading out of Mpumalanga will receive attention.
And what would be your overall message to South Africans as they travel during this busy period in order to ensure that everyone arrives safely?
Our message really is that people must remember that roads are a shared space, and that everyone has got a responsibility to use the roads responsibly, and therefore that road safety starts with every road user before government can come in and mitigate whatever is happening.
All right. Zwane, thank you so much for your time and just for giving us those messages for people on the roads to be extra cautious. That's the RTMC spokesperson, Simon Zwane.